What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another uniform review video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking a look at Mysterio and his new Far From Home uniform. And the uniform is looking quite badass, if I do say so myself. I really like this uniform. It just looks really cool. So a lot of detail in the uniform, and the cape, or in the armor and everything. So yeah, the uniform looks really nice. But let's go ahead and see what the uniform is actually going to do for Mysterio here. So, the uniform bonus itself is going to be decrease all damage received by 66%, which is massive. That's a really huge decrease to damage received, which is well needed for Mysterio because he could not take a hit to save his life. He would die very quickly if he ever did get hit. And then we have a 25% chance to penetrate shield, all damage immune, and invincibility, which can be nice for PvP, so definitely a nice bonus right there for him as well. And then we have a 50% increase to all attacks, so a massive attack boost there. So he's getting a lot of stuff from the actual just uniform bonus right here. So all of that, I mean, is really needed for Mysterio because he was quite low on damage and quite low on survivability, or I guess defense, because he had a lot of iframes to keep him alive, so at least he could survive with his skills. But if he ever took a hit, he was pretty much done for in like 1 or 2 hits. So hopefully this will address that with the damage reduction and the attack increase. And then we have 5 skills being changed here. The first skill doesn't really seem to have changed anything that I can see. The second skill here, though, however, we do get a 15% max HP recovery, which is very nice. And then we have a guard hit for 4 hits for 4 seconds, so that's going to help even more with the survivability. The third skill here is getting a really nice buff to it. We're getting a 100% chance for 3 seconds of damage immunity, which that was not there before, so that's really good. And then we have his illusions now being at 110% of his stats, whereas previously they were only 55%, so we got a double down right there for the summoners, or the illusion stats, which is really nice. So now hopefully his clones will be hitting a lot harder. And then the fourth skill here doesn't really appear to have any changes that I can see. It's probably just going to have maybe enhanced effects for the 3 options there. Maybe they'll hit harder, maybe there'll be more AoE or something with those. The fifth skill, however, we can see quite a bit of change going on here. We have incapacitation that will remove active buffs from targets, so it's very nice. And then we have a mind resist down, but it only stacks up to minus 30%, so it's nothing too crazy, but it will definitely help out his damage. And yes, it does apply in World Boss Ultimate, which is fantastic. So yeah, Spider-Man, can you take notes about that? Because we'd like your all defense down to work in World Boss Ultimate. And then we have a kind of damage dealt accumulation here to increase his attack, which is really nice. So yeah, everything is looking good in terms of the skill changes there. For that fifth skill is getting kind of a little bit of everything sprinkled in there. So now we're going to take a look at the skill changes here. So the first skill, like I said, doesn't really appear to have much of a change. I think it might be more AoE, like more of those kind of bats flying around. Of course, the colors of them have changed as well. Now they're green instead of like the black and purple, I think it was before. So a little more detail on the skill animation, but I think it's probably just more hits is what the main change is here. The second skill, however, we have a nice little flying like mini channeling skill because it's only a set amount of time, kind of like Scarlet Witch's third skill, so this is really cool. Definitely like that. And then the third skill now, pretty much the same animation, it's just the clones have been enhanced, and like I said, you get that 3 seconds of damage immunity, so really nice change there. And then the fourth skill doesn't look to be any different to me. He still goes up into his chair, the wheel still spins around, and you still get the same kind of options from the wheel. But like I said, I think they either just have a higher damage modifier maybe, or something, because there's got to be some kind of change going on there. And then the fifth skill here, which is going to be the biggest change, is look at that. Boom, we have supersized Mysterio going on here. It's got kind of the globe for his head for a little bit there, then you just smacks him with that massive just ball of like I don't know, looks like kind of like what's that stuff called, the fog that they use from like the fog machines. It's just all swirled up and he just smacks it down on them, so really cool. But there is a problem with the fifth skill. The fifth skill, as you can see here, boom, we tap it, teleports, he goes into a slight iframe for the teleport, but then he goes out of that iframe, and then he gets big and hops into the iframe. I'll probably have some World Boss Ultimate gameplay starting in the background now, but that was really hurting my kind of damage in the world boss area, just because, especially against Ebony, I would use the fit skill, I'd teleport behind Ebony, but then Ebony would teleport, and since I was out of the iframe, my skill would get cancelled. So his fit skill gets cancelled quite often in my experience so far in world boss. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. I would really like the fifth skill to just be like a complete iframe from start to finish. None of that stupid gaps that they like to put into the skills now. All these skills seem to have gaps in their iframes, which is super annoying for getting guard broken, taking damage from like the acid puddles, taking bleed damage, all those kind of things. It just really hurts with survivability to have even those slight little gaps in iframe, because the world bosses can really take advantage of that and punish you with all of that dot damage that they do. So yeah, that's just one thing that I don't really like too much about the fit skill, but besides that, the fit skill hits really hard. Definitely his most damaging skill. And the animation itself looks really cool, so that's just kind of my main complaint there. So overall, I'm really liking Mysterio's new uniform here. I've been doing like 4 and then cancel into 5 for the damage proc when that wasn't working out too well with Ebony, because I was really relying on mind control to help me out with getting that 5th skill to land against Ebony. I was hopping up into the chair, and then I was using actually the first skill to teleport past the enemies, and then when I get out of the iframe, Ebony would teleport, but then I would jump into the 5th skill, so Ebony had just finished his teleport, then I could get into my iframe so that I can actually deal that damage. Overall, I mean, he's hitting a lot harder, his survivability is better, but he's still not pushing any of like the top ranks in terms of like the blast character, so he's still nothing super spectacular even with this uniform. He was clearing, I don't have him at level 70, of course, so at level 60 he was getting to about, he's kind of close on stage 50 of Ebony, which you're probably seeing right now, but he wasn't able to clear it even with good strikers. And hitting, I mean, most of my attacks, I did get canceled out quite a few times actually, but maybe if I landed more of those attacks, he might be able to clear 50, but it looks like he's sitting about stage 45 for me in terms of Ebony. And then for like Call Obsidian, he was hitting about stage 25, maybe 30 if I was getting really lucky with strikers. No, I'd say more like 25, because I did okay in stage 30, but I wasn't able to do it very consistently with Mysterio here. So that's kind of where he's sitting for me at level 60. At level 70, he was doing pretty good, because Gringo was actually very lucky with Mysterio and got his potential on the first day and got him to level 70 right away. He actually mythiced his uniform and got all of his gears to 25, so he kind of decked out his Mysterio, and we hopped into a little bit of giant boss raid, and this Mysterio was doing quite respectable damage there. It didn't look like Mysterio could full solo it or anything like that, but if it was just down to his Mysterio and he had that entire 10 minutes, it was looking like he'd be able to clear it in about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, something around that area, if he was doing all the damage himself. But he has a rank 1 or rank 2 Mysterio right now. It was rank 1 a little while ago. I don't know if it's gone down or not, so his Mysterio is very well built, has CTP of energy, so yeah, not everyone's going to have a Mysterio that looks like that. He's got like all mythic Uru and everything on him, so yeah, his Mysterio is decked out, and he was able to, you know, still able to do that much damage, which is kind of impressive, but there's so many blast characters that are just really strong right now that Mysterio is kind of put on the back burner, even though he does get a sizable boost with this uniform. So he's mainly going to be helping you out in like Shadowland and mid to kind of slightly higher stages of World Boss Ultimate. He can do for you if you just kind of, you know, want to have fun, play around with Mysterio, because the animations are really cool and the character model looks really cool, so it's just a really fun character to play. But his damage isn't going to be pushing at any of the kind of like top 10 or anything like that, so do keep that in mind. But overall, if you play Mysterio, if you have Mysterio, then uniform, yes, is a must buy, because it makes him playable, a lot more playable than he was before, because his damage was just pitiful before, so he gets a big boost and well-deserved boost there. So that's going to just be my initial thoughts on Mysterio here. Let me know if you're having fun with the new uniform, or if you're finding it to be kind of lackluster in terms of the damage still, or anything like that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.